Welcome back, my friends, and thanks to you all who watched my last episode on the afternoon top-up. Well, I hope you got a bit from that. For this episode, Eating on the Spectrum, it's all about dinner. Great part of the day, but not the biggest meal that we need to have. So before I start, I must say there's not medical advice or dietary, just sharing what I've experienced. What are we going to have for dinner? I'm hungry. When's dinner? Oh, something parents often hear. So as everyone has their go-to comforts food, and being autistic individuals often we like to eat the same foods repetitively over and over and again because it's easy. Don't want to feel overwhelmed or the meltdowns with change. But friends, this meal should all be about the right choice and for the evening and feel content and calm. So for me, I remove carbs to a degree. Well, that's nothing new in the fitness and dietary world, but in an autistic brain, we don't want the sugar. When you get this right, believe me, it's a difference, especially at night time when you're sort of getting calm, you sleep better, you just feel better. So when I look at dinner, whether I'm dining in or dining out, I look at my protein, good fats and non-dairy. I've said that quite a fair bit, but anyway, still the same. I'm always thinking about sugar content within. Also have mentioned in previous episodes, carbs and sugar, I don't want it in my body. It works too hard in the evening and it's just not good. As I'm sharing my experience, I was thinking what would be a good choice for this episode? Particularly, what would you eat which would be your body's not working hard to break down? So I thought, I've gone for fish, especially salmon, which is high in omega-3. But you can, substitute with different proteins. And I'm having it with the teriyaki sauce. Pumpkin and carrot mash, and charred asparagus with roasted cauliflower. Sounds good, doesn't it? So, let's cook. You want a frying pan, preferably oven proof, would be good. If not, tray's fine. A pot for mash and another oven tray for cauliflower. So the salmon is the fish for me. It's high in omega-3. And for us, that is great for our brain function and helps with exhaustion. Buttered up pumpkin carrots, sometimes it's well known as squash in other countries. Asparagus, the cauliflower, which I will season and roast, all of these contain a great source of B6, calcium and magnesium, which also assists with brain function and calming feeling. So team, we need to do some prep, get it going, get the cauliflower in the oven. That takes around about an hour. So what I need to do is I've sort of pre-started some of this. I've chopped up some cauli. So what we'll do, we'll get that started first off. So got my tray. Gonna put the cauliflower on. Oh, one thing. Remember, I can't see it. It was getting pretty. That's much better. So cauliflower on the tray. Oven's preset. Bit of olive oil. Want to get it over it. So now we've got some olive oil on there. Want to get I've got paprika and a bit of turmeric in here, the smoked paprika. So I just want to sprinkle it over the top. Don't want to go too much because we don't want to overpower it. We want to the flavours and overdo the cauliflower, because cauliflower is nice once it's roasted. A little bit more. It does absorb a little bit, so it gets right in there into the actual florets of the cauliflower. Give it a nice bit of a rub over the top. Let's wash my hands. Little bit more. Right, that's the cauliflower prepared. Right, viewers, straight into the oven. Takes an hour. Okay, next step. We'll just put the olive oil back because we'll need this later. Let's get some prep going on. So with the asparagus, I'm just going to chop about an inch or so off the end. It gets quite husky and rough on these end parts of asparagus, which we don't want. That looks quite nice. When we cook the asparagus, I'm actually going to shallow fry it in the pan and then finish it in the oven to get that sort of bit of a char on it, which is nice. I want to use the spring onion for a bit of garnish on the end just to top off the bit of, it's more like presentation. Give it a good clean, pull off any of the husky bits on the outside. This is where we want to start chopping some of it up. You don't need a lot here, just for the garnish. So, and that's enough. And we'll set that aside. All right, we want to get our mash on the cook, so we want to start softening the carrot and the butternut pumpkin, and then we can make our mash with that. Pot already sort of pre-peeled, ready to go, so we just want to rough cut, nothing special. Remember, always keep your fingers in, you don't want to get them caught. And a sharp knife is important. So again, these can be sort of rough cut. We're not too concerned about presentation here. Okay, now we want to put some water in. That's plenty. And I normally I don't season this in the water or anything like that. I just put it straight on the pot, get it going, because I'm going to season it afterwards when I'm mashing it. Right, so that's going to probably take 20, 25, and I'll just check it the way through and just make sure it's soft and it's ready for mashing. Okay, so now that that's done, we've got our asparagus done, so I'll just put that to the side. Don't need that anymore. We've got our teriyaki sauce. We've got our spring onions done, and then we've got some sesame seeds for a bit of garnish on the end, which makes it all look pretty when we sort of present it towards the end. Here I've got 2 pieces of salmon, because I'm also cooking for my beautiful fiance tonight, so there's both of us going to be eating this. So what I want to do is just salt and pepper, and that's plenty. So we just sit this to the side. We cook it at the end. It takes about 10, 12 minutes. We want to sear it off on the frying pan, put it in the oven to finish it, and then we can put all our food together nicely and then eat it, which is the best part. So I'm over at the stove now. The pumpkin and carrot's been going for a little while. Thought I'd just give it a check. It's been probably 10 minutes or so. Yeah, it's still a little bit hard, so probably going to need another sort of 5, 10. We'll check on it then. Just going to check the oven. Yeah, that cauliflower's looking pretty good. So about another 10 to 15, pull it out, give it a little bit more oil, and then we'll keep the cooking process going in it. But in the meantime, I'm just going to pull the cauliflower out of the oven, give it a check, see how it's going. Always just a little bit of heat off so you don't cook yourself. Now that's looking pretty good, or you can hear it sort of crisping away and cooking. That's actually quite nice, but it's a little bit dry on top, so just a little bit more oil. Keep it nice and moist. I do like roast cauliflower. It's something, it just has a whole different taste about it. It's beautiful. Okay, that's done. I'm happy with that, so I'm going to put it back in the oven. It's time to drain the water off and look at doing the mash for our mashed puree. Right, so now at this point, it's ready for the mash. I'm not mashing with a masher as such. I'm going to use a bit of a blender here, like sort of to puree a little bit so it's softer. It's nice when I put them in the bottom of my presentation and put the fish on top, and with the sauce, it comes up quite good. So here, I want to do a quick blitz just to break it down. Oh, helps if the power's on. Well, all that's done. So that's ready now for a bit of seasoning. So watch just a bit of salt and pepper, a bit of turmeric and paprika. So I just want to put that in. Don't want to overpower it, you still want the flavour of the pumpkin and carrot. Just remembering too, it has a lot of moisture in the pumpkin itself. So it can actually be a bit too watery. So What we want to do is stir it up, put a bit of heat back on it, and like fry it off, steam off some of that moisture. Just a little bit of, I use a bit of plant-based. It's an olive oil-based margarine or butter, you would call it. Then use the small heating element. I do like gas because it is an instant heat, but a lot of the new products today, like the electric induction ones, all that are fantastic, and it's getting better. And if we're looking at energy efficiency, and we don't really want to be burning gas forever, but in this case, this property, it's all it had, so it's all I got to use. But I am definitely about clean and green. See what you can see at this stage, but it's still just a little bit too watery. As you can see, the steam starting to come off. That's just the water evaporating. I do find cooking quite therapeutic. It sort of helps me just get out of the day that I've had, enjoy something, putting something together and enjoying eating it. And after I've sort of eaten this meal, I do feel more relaxed, and especially if I know if I've had carbs at dinner, my energy levels will just come back again. I'll sort of get that second wind, which is not what I want. I'm quite exhausted from the day I've had in general, consistent masking, etc. Overstimulated with light and noise at work. So this night time is my chill. Now, I'm definitely happy with that. Take it off the heat, set it aside. It'll stay warm for a while, so we just put the lid on just to keep a bit of that heating, just enough to let the steam still evaporate, because you don't want it to go back and get moisture back in there and go all watery. Horrible. Okay, now it's time to check our cauliflower again, see how that's progressing in the oven. It's got about probably 20 minutes to go, but I just want to give it a bit of a poke test, I call it. It's looking good. Sort of see it starting to brown up a little bit on top. Yeah, that's getting there. Still, it's not soft and mushy. It's firm but soft, which is sort of how I like it. But I do want to put a little bit more of that oil over the top of it. Just baste it up again. So it's got about 20 minutes and then that's done. So in the meantime, we want to start looking at cooking our rest of our stuff, which is our salmon. So it all sort of finishes off together. Okay, back in the oven. Now we can start to look at getting prepared to cook the salmon and the asparagus and tie it all together, and then, beautiful. Okay, now the exciting parts start. We're going to sear off the salmon, do our asparagus, finish it off in the oven, tie it all together, and that's it. So let's get the frying pan going. Want to get that up to a nice high heat because we want to sear it or seal it, capture all the goodness inside the salmon, and then we just sort of finish it off in the oven, and that sort of keeps it without overcooking it, which you don't want to do. So once this gets up to heat, I'm going to use some sesame oil in this case instead of olive oil, but I'll use olive oil with the asparagus. Okay, now we're going to go in with the sesame oil. Nice generous serve there. Move it around. Get the heat up. You can definitely, when that starts cooking, you can definitely smell the sesame coming out of it. Adds a nice note to it. You don't have to use sesame. You can use olive oil. You can use plant-based type margarine. Like I say, I don't use butter or dairy. Said the reasons why, but yeah, look. That's the best choice. Olive oil is a good choice. Okay. In with our seasoned salmon. Okay, that's looking good. So now I don't want to do too much with that. I want to put a little bit of the seasoning, the teriyaki seasoning over the top. And the rest I want to put in. All right, so move that around. Just going to create my sauce. Bubble up nice, straight into the oven. Okay. Now, give it a couple more minutes before we do the asparagus, because that doesn't take too long, and that'll go in the oven. Once that's all done, everything should align together, and then we'll start prepping our plate to eat. Right, to the asparagus. Let's get the asparagus going. Okay, in it goes. So what I want to do is get the cooking process started with the asparagus. We don't want to overcook it on the frying pan, but just want to get the heat going so it generates that cooking process. Okay, that's enough. Into the oven. Okay, now is the exciting time. We've cooked everything, start to need to assemble. So first thing is I'm just going to remove the pot lid. We'll start putting some mash down. Still nice and warm. So quite a generous bit. Okay, there. What I want to do is just sort of spread it around a little bit. Okay. Now here, this is where the cauliflower then sits next to it. So nice, well done, nicely cooked. So put it to the side. Look, I'm not a chef by any means. I try my best to make it look good, and hopefully people that eat it will enjoy it. Okay, that looks good. See here, I like to sort of just rest it off to the side. Okay, and now this part here, we just want to just a little bit over the top. Not too much because it can overpower, so it's just about drizzle over it. Now, the sesame seeds. Spring onion. Well, there you have it, viewers. That's my take on salmon, teriyaki sauce, roasted cauliflower, asparagus, and the pumpkin and butternut carrot puree. Oh, big lot of mouthful there, but you get the idea. Looks good, doesn't it? Time for a bit of a try, see what it tastes like. Well, need I say more? So even though I've cooked this today, there's many alternatives like bulk cooking, which you can do. I tend to do this also, as cooking every night may not be able to, so I just can reheat food as I go. So other options like Brussels sprout and broccoli bake, eggplant moussaka, so many options which do not have to be full of carbs. Add alternatives like gluten-free, low-GI, wheat-free pasta, which can also have, that can bulk stuff up, especially for kids, that's a good alternative. Even look at the supermarket, a lot of pre-made meals which are also suitable. I would have now given you some idea on what to look for. Always check the nutritional information on the package. This will guide you with the right choices. Parents of autistic children can look at options like substitutes like sweet potato mash, sweet potato chips with protein. That works really, really well, and the kids love it. There is a quick alternative also, not always cooking elaborately, it's just functional. So sometimes you've got to look at what you're doing or what you need to cook for the evening. So, well viewers, enough from me. We will go over more when we have dessert. And that's nearly ends our day off of cooking, which is my favourite part, because I do have a bit of a sweet tooth, but as I say, there's some alternatives to that. So to all my viewers, please follow, subscribe, like, do all the social stuff, and until next time, see you then.